following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
Hello again, I'm Jim Lampley. On July 23, HBO pay-per-view will take you live to Las Vegas for the Global Supremacy Junior Welterweight Showdown between unbeaten Viktor Postol of Ukraine and unbeaten Terrence Crawford of the United States. To help get you ready for that, we're going to take a look back now at the turning point fight in Postol's career, the night he went from an interesting prospect to a bona fide star. It was October of last year. By that point, Postol had put together a good enough unbeaten record to loom as a logical enough opponent for glamour puncher Lucas Matthysse of Argentina. Matthysse had won a spirited battle against Ruslan Provodnikov earlier in the year and was now ready to score another win to stamp himself as the #1 man at 140 pounds worldwide. Postol was seen as the kind of intelligent technician who could provide a mental challenge to Matthysse, but certainly couldn't be expected to keep up with the power and physical dynamism of the Argentine slugger. Theater of the unexpected, outdoors in Carson, California. Let's see how that fight went and how I called it with Roy Jones and Max Kellerman.
Matthysse? All right. We went over this in the dressing room. We have a language barrier, so it's even more important to listen and obey my commands at all times and protect yourself at all times. Fight hard, fight clean. Freddie, this is a little bit high. I'm going to let him work in here. This is good. Good luck to both of you.
Postol in his career so far has shown the will to win. He's shown good skills. He's shown a high activity level. He's a busy fighter, tons of punches thrown and landed. But it's how he handles the punches that Matthysse will inevitably land that will likely determine this fight.
Viktor Postol claims, Freddie Roach tells me I'm his new favorite fighter. Freddie Roach is a master psychologist. You wonder how many fighters have been told that he's their new favorite fighter. But certainly he's trying to use the positive to reinforce Postol and make him think, yes, you can beat Lucas Matthysse.
Conventional wisdom is that Matthysse will come in and Postol fight at a distance. But Postol said there are times where he wants to be the aggressor in this fight.
Doing a good job with that long jab early is Postol.
Nobody punch. Step away from each other. Box.
Well, question one for Matthysse is how to get inside, and he does it with a good, strong left hook right there. Postol got off to a little bit of a slow start against Selçuk Aydin, got clocked by a big punch in round one. By round three, he had completely taken over. Everybody knows Matthysse operates at a higher level of class than Selçuk Aydin.
Yeah, if you get into that kind of trouble against Matthysse early, you may not get out of that trouble.
Hard body shots by Matthysse. Postol getting an early taste of the Matthysse power.
And what Postol has to do is force Matthysse to deal with that right there, that long jab.
Right, he hasn't really gotten his rhythm going on the jab yet. We're a minute and a half in, and Postol needs to develop a rhythm throwing his jab.
Stop. Let him go.
Matthysse has never been the kind of just come at you throwing caution to the wind type fighter that Provodnikov or Rios are. He's a little more calculated in what he does. He sets things up a little bit more, which can be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, he's a better all-around athlete than either Provodnikov or Rios.
Yeah, and that could be
more options.
Yeah, and that could be a curse tonight because he really needs to be that all-out guy to get to a guy like Postol.
Let each other out. Let him out.
The more time he takes, the better opportunities he'll give Postol to use that long jab.
Ooh, good right hand.
1-2 by Postol.
Let each other go. Let him go.
Right hand landed flush.
Stop. You can fight in a clinch.
Jack Reese explaining to Viktor Postol, you can fight in a clinch. Postol may say to Reese, I don't want to fight in a clinch.
At all.
Don't clinch.
Viktor Postol off to a little bit of a slow start against Lucas Matthysse.
See at a distance, Postol.
Both of you, and you stay off to the back of the head, both of you. Relájese. Pelea.
Postol keeps that right hand glued to his chin, Roy, protecting from that left hook.
Very smart move on Postol's part.
Pretty hard to figure which is Mathisse's most dangerous punch, but if I were going to stay away from anything, it would be the left hook.
Tempo.
Round one, not the kind of round that Postol wants to fight.
¿Cómo estás?
How you doing? You gotta go out to the right. To the right. That's the way you gotta go out. He doesn't want you. He doesn't want anything to do with you.
You might have to come up with a jab a little bit. Keep fighting.
Если он говорит, выходи из клинча, руки поддерживай и продолжай драться. Если он говорит...
You saw Jack Reese, the referee between rounds, talking into the ear of Postol's manager, Vadim Kornilov. Kornilov, though he lives here in the United States, was born in Russia, speaks Russian, and he's the language conduit through whom Reese can get instructions to Viktor Postol. Not sure what Reese said to Vadim Kornilov, but it was something that he wanted Kornilov to say to Postol, probably about the holding behind the head or hitting behind the head subject about which he spoke to both fighters in round one. Darrell Edelman scored the first round for Matthysse.
Postol did some good work, and then Matthysse kind of evened it with that big body shot.
Now here's Postol with his natural movement, moving to his left. He comes back to the opposite direction. When he comes to the right, he's coming toward the left hook. He wants to keep moving to his left and try to move away from Matthisse's left hook. But again, Matthyisse's right hand is also dangerous.
The good thing for Postol is that we haven't seen a really good overhand right like that from Matthysse yet.
Stop.
That's going to be the key punch for Matthysse because he'll have to come over Postol's long jab. And he's setting it up with that right hook to the body right there.
And now we learn from an interpreter in Postol's corner that what Jack Reese wanted Vadim Kornilov to tell him was, when I say get out of a clinch, you got to get out of the clinch. Something Postol wasn't doing quickly enough to satisfy him in the first round. This is a scratch and sniff start for Viktor Postol. And there's a quick right hand that helps him, stabilizes him a little bit, and gains him some space to throw that jab.
Which has driven Matthysse back at times.
Yes, the longer the fight goes, the better off it is for Postol because he's longer. He's not the power guy here. Not that he can't hurt Matthysse, but he's not the guy that we're expecting to see the one-punch knockout front.
Stop. You guys are both wrestling and hitting by net. Relax. Box.
Jack Reese is a good referee who tends to err in favor of the fan. He wants to see a good fight. He'll stop the action from time to time and talk to the fighters about how to avoid getting into one of those scratch and sniff type affairs and show the fans the action they want to see.
And he gives very clear instructions.
Yeah, you can't make fighters brawl, but you can make them box.
And now Postol's getting into a rhythm here.
Stop, break, separate.
See, I don't like when Matthysse gets inside like that and then does nothing. That defeats the purpose for getting in there.
Let him go, Viktor. Fight out, come on, fight out. Work out of there. Stop, my break. Box. Time! That was a much better round,
Намного лучше раунд.
The jab was much more effective.
Джеб очень эффективно работает.
Now when they start landing that jab, put the right hand behind it.
Когда попадаешь в джеб, уже чувствуешь уверенность.
I want to get the message, that he's allowed to fight on the clinch, to pull out. I'm saying let him go. He said he understood. Okay.
Не всегда надо ждать брейк.
Okay.
Или он начнет говорить, что ты делаешь. То есть бей, отвечай ему в клинче сам.
There's Olga Postol, wife of Viktor Postol, and We asked Victor, does she like Los Angeles when she spends time here? And he says yes. She likes Los Angeles enough that she'd like to spend a lot more time here. But that requires that I win. Interesting. Harold Letterman scores the second round for Postol, meaning he doesn't have to gain full control here to win rounds. He could win that round in what was kind of a nip and tuck thing.
Not in terms of the speed or the power of it, but the way he holds that left jab, Roy, reminds me of Lennox, the way Postol jabs that left hand at times.
Yeah, because he's a tall fighter who's very smart about it. So he's using that range and that height to keep the smaller guys out and make him have to deal with that jab.
Yeah.
So he's forcing Matthysse to have to negate that jab before he can get close enough to punch. Then once he gets close enough, sometimes either he clinches or he moves out before Matthysse can punch. That.
He keeps the left hand halfway extended, so the jab has a much shorter distance to travel.
And when you're a jab-centric fighter, like Victor Postol, or the example you're choosing here, Max, Lennox Lewis, then your success is going to be predicated to a certain degree on how often are you able to throw the jab.
Nobody punch.
Over the years with Lennox Lewis, the CompuBox indicator was so totally clear. If Lennox threw 30 jabs around, no one could touch him. You couldn't get near him, no one could handle him. If he threw under 25, anyone was a threat.
You okay?
With Postol, it's probably the same thing. Partially blocked with the right hand. Crowd liked it, but wasn't the big left hook. Good right hand inside by Postol.
And now he's getting a little bit more of what he wants. He's making Matthysse reach at him some.
Postol starting to land some combinations here in the third round.
Postol came in as the underdog, but what you would call a very live dog. The real question coming in is, how does he respond to Mathisse's power? So far, he's responded well.
Step away.
And it's enabled him to start to assert his boxing.
Matthysse got in a right hand, but Matthysse so far has not landed a power combination in the fight.
Put your hands
has
out,
not landed a combination in which he set up a power shot and then executed it and hit Postol flush.
Because Postol is doing a great job of either staying too far away or getting too close for Matthysse to land this perfect power shot.
Not pretty, but effective.
Let him go. Stop, 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 stop. Hey, don't do that with your shoulder. You all right?
I like this referee, Jim.
Oh, Jack Reese is a good one.
Time. Bueno, por eso le digo, tenés que salir para el lateral, ¿no? Estás ahí, y te metes, dale agua. Vos, cabecea y metés a la derecha por arriba, porque baja a la izquierda, porque se tira para atrás. Pero usa la izquierda, en punta. Vamos. Victor. Victor, let him go. Stop,
Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. I got a 2-1, 29-28, Victor Postol. You know, Jim, in rounds 2 and 3, Lucas Matthysse, like you said, didn't really land a power shot. Postol just landed jab after jab after jab, piling up points. I thought he won rounds 2 and 3 easily with that left jab. All Lucas Matthysse is doing to this point is throwing a lot of rabbit punches. You know, hit some good shots, but they're all behind the head, not really legal punches. And to tell you the truth, I think these two guys are being, you know, they don't seem to understand Jack Reese. I really believe that, you know, it's a bad situation for Jack. You know, what are you going to do with a language problem? Anyway, 2-1. Victor Postol.
Separate.
Speaking of pound for pound, I know it's unpopular because he's been inactive, but I've had Andre Ward second to Floyd Mayweather for the last several years, and now without Floyd, I think it's Andre's.
As far as proven and who he's fought, I agree with you.
Stop, nobody punch. Step from each other. Box.
Good body shots by Postol.
Ooh, and he goes right back down there on the other side.
And now he's getting quicker. He's getting more assertive. He's getting quicker. He's getting much more confident about what he can throw and when he can throw it, Roy.
Because he's keeping Matthysse at a safe distance until he got caught with that hook right there. But he was keeping him at a safe distance that he didn't have to worry about Mathisse's power. Either he's too far away like that, or he's too close to him. Anytime he gets close, he ties him up. Until then, he batters him away with that jab.
Look, those who thought Postol would win coming in
Let him go.
thought that the only way Matthysse could win, because of the size and the skills of Postol and the busyness.
And this is happening because you're wrestling.
The only way Matthysse could win is turning the fight around with a big shot. And even people who thought Matthysse was going to win, a lot of them feel the same, that he might be behind in a fight and would have to turn it around with one big punch.
And that's highly true.
Good body shot again by Postol with the right hand.
Right.
Well, wherever the referee is who speaks both fluent Spanish and Russian or Ukrainian, that would have been the guy to have tonight. But we doubt there's one of those in the United States. And that was an excellent round, by my lights at least, for Victor Postol.
All right, very nice combination, very good. We gotta keep that going, all right? Combination.
Продолжай комбинациями работать.
All right, now, get after your combination. Don't go back to your rooms.
Mueve la cabeza.
You gotta move the
Mueve
head.
la cabeza y mueve la
Move the
derecha.
head and then bring that moving right hand. And when you go on the inside, he's doing this. Go in and get that shot, right shot.
¿Cómo estás?
Here you see Victor Postol land something that's very bad for Matthysse, which is a beautiful right hook to the body. And you watch Matthisse's reaction. You see him snatch that arm down. That means he felt that shot.
After a series of spectacular knockouts and a couple of close decision losses in fights most fans felt he should have won, Lucas Matthysse made it to the threshold of the top spot in the 140-pound weight class and was favored by most ringsiders two years ago to beat Danny Garcia. He got outboxed thoroughly by Garcia that night and wasn't able to capitalize. Now, 2 years later, he's made it back to the same position. He comes in as the favorite to prove himself as the #1 man in the division. And to this point in the fight, he's getting outboxed by Victor Postol.
He's being outclassed.
And Victor's a much taller order than Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia was closer to his height. Victor Postol is much taller than him, which makes it much more difficult for him to overcome this boxing scenario.
Fights in a lower risk style, too, which gives Matthysse less chances to turn it around.
A lot less chances.
And though he doesn't have a lot of knockouts, that can be misleading. He's a good body puncher. Roy just highlighted it with that vicious right hook to the body. And he has enough sting and snap on those punches to keep his opponent honest.
Right hand lands for Matthysse. Crowd comes to life, thinking any minute here one of Matthisse's power shots is going to change the fight. And by the way, over the years, I've told you several times how accurate the CompuBox forecast analysis has been in telling us who's likely to win the fight and how. Tonight, for the first time in my memory, the CompuBox analysis very specifically predicts that Postol will be leading on the scorecards when Matthysse reels him in with a late TKO.
Well, that seems like a rational analysis, but so far, again, the question of this fight, how does Postol react to Matthisse's power? He's reacted very well so far.
In a little while, we're going to find out how does Matthysse react to Postol's power.
If it keeps going this way. And maybe the question is, can Victor Postol prove himself to be the top man in the 140-pound weight class?
Long way to go yet in this fight.
Yep.
Stop,
a long way to go in Postol's career.
And there's been a little bit more of a reaction in the legs of Postol this round to Mathisse's power shots upstairs.
Matthysse is getting more urgent.
You'd like to see Matthysse use a right uppercut right there. He's not throwing it, but you'd like to see him use a right uppercut when he's that close.
You're holding, that's why you're getting hit behind the head. Stop the holding, you won't get hit.
Exactly.
Cuidado. Box.
That's very fair of Jack Reese. If you're going to hold him and bend your head, he's throwing a legal punch. It winds up in the back of your head. It's your fault.
Stop. You have to listen. You all right? Box. Sit back.
We told you as the fighters came into the ring that Postol and Matthysse have done all they can tonight to prove to fight fans that they are PED clean because they tested with VADA.
В ближнем руки у головы и снизу просто вставляй. Снизу короткие.
Put your hands in. Don't bang bang, okay?
И короткие внутри бей.
All right, let's go.
Left hook by Matthysse. 6th round of a scheduled 12. Matthysse looking for a way to put his imprint on the fight. Hasn't been able to do so far. Crowd chants, Lucas.
Stop. Nobody punch.
Quick combination by Postol, and he lands the left hook. Takes a right hand for his trouble.
Roy Matthysse is doing what
Let him go.
what you advised early, which is just let the hands go a little more. Don't worry about setting everything up perfectly.
But he should have done this sooner, Max, and he wouldn't be behind right now, and he wouldn't have been taking the peppering that he's been taking. See that? That's when he has to punch. So he can't give up a body shot and not work inside right there.
Well, Postol is using his advantage as well and keeping Mathisse's hands at home oftentimes.
He's using his advantages much better than Matthysse is using his own.
Stop. Separate.
Between rounds for the second time, Jack Reese went to Postol's corner and through his manager, Babin Kornilov, told Postol, you're holding Matthysse, you're gathering him into you, and if in a situation like that, he knocks you out with a punch to the back of the head, I'm going to call it a knockout, not a foul.
Stop.
So Reese is doing everything possible to make the point to Matthysse, or to Postol, that he jeopardizes his chances in the fight if he continues to hold Matthysse and gather him in. Of course, Matthysse trying to burrow in, and to a certain degree, Postol may feel that's his only remedy.
Well, he also landed that good right uppercut against Matthysse a little while ago.
That's his best punch when he throws it.
I think it is.
Reese is a thoughtful referee and prepares for those moments and those possibilities philosophically ahead of time.
Good
hard
shot.
right hand by Matthysse. His best punch in the fight. Postol trying to reassert himself.
Stop. Second warning on holding. Second warning. Box.
2 warnings for holding now against Victor Postol, meaning the next holding infraction could elicit a penalty.
Now you see Matthysse going for the knockout.
And by the way, because of Reese's warnings, the fight got better. There's been more exchanges. He's forcing a fight.
Matthysse gets in a left hook. He's landed both a right cross and a left hook in this round. And now he throws Postol to the canvas.
If he would throw an overhand right after that left hook to the body, he would land it.
was the best round so far for Lucas Matthysse. And the crowd chanting for him may have lifted him just a little bit. Or maybe the biggest difference was Jack Reese's warning against Postol for holding.
Okay, you gotta move your head and throw your hands. That's it. Throw your hand here. And the hooks, remember the hooks.
Here you see Matthysse throw a body shot followed by a beautiful straight right hand, which to me has to be his best punch of the night. That one seemed to have buckled Postol a little bit. Yes, that buckled his knees a little bit.
Matthysse has real power because that punch was not at the perfect spot. The energy was kind of spent by the time it landed, and it still did damage.
CompuBox numbers through 6. CompuBox finds Matthysse landing 64 of 175, landing 7 more punches than Postol, who's at 57 of 267. Matthysse with a 56-30 power advantage. And Matthysse with a 16-13 advantage in the 6th round. But Postol is throwing more punches. And as we saw in the first fight tonight, that can often be the critical factor for the judges at ringside. Big right hand for Matthysse. Postol was wobbled by that.
Matthysse
biggest power of the punch of the fight so far for Matthysse. Headbutt knocks Matthysse back into the ropes, and Jack Reese will call timeout. Looks at Postol, he's okay. Looks at Matthysse, he's okay. And now they go back to the action.
Matthysse is getting wilder because he knows he can afford to get hit in exchanges, and Postol cannot.
Well, I wouldn't say he can afford it, Max. He better be careful what he gets hit with, because if he gets hit with that overhand or with that right uppercut, he's going to have real problems.
I agree, but I think he's decided that Postol can't hurt him.
Well, he decided wrong. If he feels that right uppercut, you're going to see him sitting down.
Harold, what do you have so far? Scorecard through 6.
Okay, so I'm at a 4 rounds to 2, 56. Victor Postol had 31 rounds, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But Lucas Matthysse figured him out in his 6th round.
Let me rephrase it, Roy. It's not that maybe he thinks he can't hurt him. It's that he feels he can't win unless he exchanges, that Matthysse must take that risk.
And that's true. That's very true. He has to gamble in order to win the fight. We already said he can't win the fight boxing. He's too short. Postol gonna kill him on the outside. He has to take that risk.
Even with the language barrier, what a job Jack Reese has done. This fight is getting better from round to round. The crowd is beginning to get what they expected to see.
And there's nothing wrong with taking an advantage of a clinch away from a fighter, because a clinch is technically not a boxing move, to borrow, that terrible football phrase from the NFL. But it's not only defensive, but it's something that shouldn't be going on, certainly not excessively.
Are you saying it's Klitschko-ish?
Clutch.
Vladimirian.
Klitschko.
Another hard right hand.
Followed by a hook.
And there's Matthysse following Reese's advice. I got an arm free, I'm going to use it.
Big left hook by Matthysse. Knocks Postol back to the ropes.
Nobody punch.
Postol showing a pretty good beard here in the 7th round. He's been hit by some big Matthysse shots, but not really wobbled. And coming back with his own combination. Hurts Matthysse with a right hand.
I think he did hurt him.
I told you Postol can hurt him.
What a round.
Are you cut? No? Now listen. Listen, if you're the puncher, get the right in the hook of the body. What's he saying? Don't let the hand in the front, bring it down.
Here you see Matthysse land even a better right hand. Got full extension on that one. You couldn't ask for a better punch than that, and that hurt Postol.
That's Olga Postol at ringside, with the worried look so common to fighters' wives in round 7 of a tough 12-round fight.
The worried look starts when you sign to fight one of the biggest punchers, maybe the biggest puncher in the division.
Almost certainly the biggest puncher in the 140-pound division. One of the biggest punchers in boxing.
Yeah.
Harold Letterman saw enough in the boxing response of Victor Postol to those big Matthysse shots in the 7th round to give the Ukrainian star the round, making it 5 rounds to 2 Postol on the Letterman scorecard so far.
Postol did some good work, especially late in the round.
Quick right hand over the top by Postol before Matthysse could launch his combination.
Postol is getting better in this fight.
Postol moves away again. What's that?
Postol is getting better in this fight right now. Now he's starting to sharpen up a little bit, catch that second wind, and throw really good telling punches like those.
Almost like he's decided, okay, I feel your power, Matthysse. I got this calibrated now.
Almost as if he's responded to Jack Reese's warning about holding by increasing his focus, his concentration, and boxing better.
Boxing much better.
Yeah, Reese forced the fight and forced Postol, in a sense, to up his game, as Matthysse had more free reign to throw punches.
Good jab.
Good jab. Good jab. Hard right hand. Postol momentarily had Matthysse in trouble with the 1-2.
Knocked him a 360.
Another hard right hand.
Stop. Stop.
Postol looks like he's going for the knockout.
This is amazing here in the 8th round as Victor Postol, the boxer, is putting Matthysse on the defensive.
Matthysse right now is thinking, I thought he only had 11 knockouts in 27 fights.
You saw the way he knocked that last guy out.
Yeah, I did, with that uppercut.
You should know better than that.
Amazing. Goes to wild card Jim, works with Freddie, and all of a sudden he's hitting like this.
It never fails.
Yep.
High drama at the StubHub Center in Carson. Theater of the unexpected. Boxing capital of the West Coast. Another great night. Hard right hand again by Postol.
Right, step back clean.
That's been his best punch so far tonight, that right hook to the body.
Yes, it has. It's kept Matthysse honest, and it makes him have to defend that shot because it's so hard.
Stop. Right. Time.
Well, maybe other than the jab, but that's worked too.
Harold Letterman gave that round to Postol, and I have to assume he did. It's 6 rounds to 2 on the Letterman scorecard.
You okay? You okay? Yes.
And if that's true, Postol is 1 round away from putting Matthysse into I need a knockout city.
And you lead. When you lose, let him go. 2 punches. Be sharp. Are you good? Yes. You good? Yes.
Here you see Matthysse get caught with the weight on his front foot as he reaches in with a jab, and Postol comes over the top of that jab with a right hand to the back of the ear and knocks him a complete 360.
That was a one-sided round. Matthysse was 3 of 26. Postol was 14 of 59. Victor Postol had it all his way in the last round. Now let's see what Matthysse can do to turn things around with 4 rounds to go.
I like the way Matthysse came out in this round, Roy, not discouraged from the last round.
What happened in the last round was he caught that right body shot to the ribs early, and that kind of drained him. Now he's staying at a wrong distance again. He's standing right at the end of Postol's jab. That's not where you want to be, especially this late in the fight.
I'm sure there have been taller fighters at 140 at some point than Postol.
Separate. Turn around.
But against a 5'8" Lucas Matthysse, with that height, with his overall athleticism, thank you, Max, and with the movement, Postol looks very commanding in there.
Yeah, he is very commanding, Jim. He's fighting at his pace. He's fighting at his range. As long as he doesn't do anything stupid and give Matthysse a chance to land a big shot, then he should be safe for the rest of the night. He's overcame the most dangerous part of Lucas Matthysse.
The early power.
Yes.
Postol, though, doesn't fight in a boring safety first, exclusively safety first style. He will open up, he will throw combinations, he will take certain risks given his lack of knockout record and his height and reach.
Stop.
He's more offensive than a fighter with his tools than we frequently see.
Once again, being in the wild card with all those killers, you better learn how to keep people off you. And he has definitely learned that.
Stop. Nobody punch.
Well, as we mentioned, the CompuBox analysis forecast predicted Postol would be ahead on points and Matthysse would score the late TKO. It appears we have the first prerequisite.
Stop.
Now let's see if the rest of the drama plays out.
Don't be surprised if Postol lands the TKO. How he's landing these punches right now. He's hitting Matthysse at will.
You think he's taken some of the starch out of Matthysse so far and Matthyisse's power?
With those body shots, he took a lot of starch out of Matthysse.
Think he's looking a little taller every round to Matthysse?
Yes, he is. And a little bit more elusive every round.
Stop.
Well, taking the starch out of your opponent's one thing, starching him is something else, and that would be an amazing accomplishment if Postol could pull it off.
That would be astonishing. But a win at this point would not be astonishing. Because we have seen now, both against Selçuk Aydin last year and now tonight, what Postol can do. And what an education in the wild card gym under Freddie Roach can mean.
Good, what happened? What happened there? I don't know. Throw, you gotta throw, dude. You gotta throw, you gotta let go. He's got nothing there.
Руки у головы и в ближнем бей апперкот короткий, не опасный. Got the gloves?
Yeah. Okay. All right, now we need these last 2 rounds big, okay? So let's go.
Нам нужны чемпионские раунды. Все остальные за тобой. Главное, не рискуй.
3 minutes of every round. Let's beat him all 3. Come on.
Концовку в конце раунда.
Lucas Matthysse, Victor Postol. 3 rounds to go. Round 10 of a scheduled 12. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, I got an 88-83, 7 rounds to 2, Victor Postol. You know, Jim, was I wrong in this fight? In round 6, I figured Lucas Matthysse had this guy figured out, and after a slow start, he was going to go out there and whack him around and maybe knock him out or stop him or whatever. But in round 7, 8, 9, Victor Postol just did the same thing that he did earlier in the fight. Totally outboxing Lucas Matthysse. I mean, no contest whatsoever. Moves beautifully, lots of combinations, great left jabs, hard right hands, staggered him a couple of times, did everything you got to do to win. 7-2 Postol.
Let him go.
Max Kellerman is in Postol's corner now with Freddie Roach. Max?
Freddie, what are you seeing?
Stop.
Well, it's a little bit of ugly fight. The styles don't mix up too well, but my guy, I want him to throw more combinations. And when he gets in the inside with this guy and falls in the pocket, I want to see him throw combinations up the middle because this guy's relaxing and just, you know, not really doing much. He really stops throwing punches, and I think Postol needs to take advantage of that.
Freddie, you said that we need these last 3 rounds big. Are you concerned at all that that opens up your fighter to get countered by a big puncher? You seem to want him to press for more offense.
You know, when he's on the offense, he's not getting hit at all. When he's moving back on the defense, that's when he's getting hit. So yes, I want him to press a little bit more. And this guy is not a good puncher going backwards. He's a good puncher coming forward. So I want him to press him more. Yes.
Nobody punch.
You think he can get the knockout here?
I think we can. He's getting a little tired. I think he's like maybe quit a little bit. He's not trying so hard anymore. I think we can knock him out, yes.
Thanks, Freddie.
Boy, I'm thinking of the 140-pound division as presently constituted.
Pull your hand out.
Or currently constituted,
Stop.
I should say.
Stop. Break.
And obviously, plenty could change in the last couple of rounds. Matthysse could turn this around, but let's just assume that this continues and Victor Postol scores the big upset win and takes a title belt and a very strong position toward leadership of the 140-pound weight class. And you think, who is there in the division who has the range, the timing, the length to give him problems? And there's only one answer. And he's in Omaha, Nebraska. And we're going to see him 3 weeks from now.
There you go. But if this holds up, let me tell you something.
That is a knockdown. We've got a count. And Matthysse is down.
9, 10.
This is over. Victor Postol has knocked out Lucas Matthysse.
Roy said it could happen. Freddie said he noticed Matthysse quitting, and there you saw a beaten fighter deciding not to get up.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You start from the premise that Postol doesn't have enough power to hurt him. Well, he sure did.
We've seen Postol twice. First against Aydin, now against Matthysse, who's at the top of the division. He totally dominated both fights and knocked his man out late both times.
In the 10th round, both times, on schedule. Amazing performance by Victor Postol. And just to come back to what we said, the obvious antidote is Terrence Crawford.
The obvious antidote, and that may not be the antidote, but that is the obvious answer.
That's the matchup. That's what we want to see down the road, assuming that 3 weeks from now, Crawford can deal with Derijan. Somewhere down the road, there might be an amazing fight in this division between two tall, rangy athletes, Crawford and Postol. What a phenomenal performance by Victor Postol. And here's a replay of the knockout.
Yeah, you see him boxing, moving. I told you he was making Matthysse reach. So when Matthysse reaches right here with his jab, bam, he catches him on the way in with the straight right hand. And at that point, Matthysse had already had enough, Jim. It was just a matter of time.
Matthysse was discouraged by having been outboxed.
Totally discouraged by it. Never got in close enough to mount a long enough attack or a sustained attack for enough time to really do anything.
Most amazing thing to me was that he stayed down.
Well, sometimes a guy knows when he's had enough.
Sack right there with one knee on the canvas, not two, and listen to Jack Reese's count.
And he still didn't get up after the count.
Well, that could have been from discouragement, disappointment. This guy got up. This guy has made a name for himself in a very big way. And there's Olga Postol. That's what it looks like in the 10th round when your man knocks the opponent out. Got a belt around him now. A major title in the division. And a foothold toward even bigger things down the road. Victor Postol of Kiev. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jack Reese counts to 10, and this fight comes to an end. The official time, 2 minutes, 58 seconds of round number 10. The winner by knockout victory, still undefeated, and now the new WBC super lightweight champion of the world, Dame Espada, Victor, the Iceman Postol.
31 years old, from Kiev, Ukraine. 28-0 with 12 knockouts. 2-0 with 2 knockouts on HBO.
You know the most fascinating stat? The most fascinating stat?
What is that?
His birthday is January 16th.
Oh, that's right.
I told you. I told you yesterday. I told you, Lamps.
From the 116 club with Roy Jones. Final Poppy-Box numbers, speaking of stats. And you will see that Postol down the stretch stretched out his lead and landed punches, ultimately landing 17 more than Matthysse, throwing 228 punches or more than Matthysse in the fight. That's really where he controlled the action. He was just able to get off way more often, continuing his rhythm once he got it going in the second round. Jabs, he lands 36 out of 267. Matthysse only throws 83. Power shots, he lands 77 out of 242. Matthysse is ahead in this category, 82 out of 198, and he lands at a very creditable 41%. But given what Postol was doing with the jab, that wasn't enough for Matthysse. And now let's go to Max Kellerman in the ring with the winner.
Congratulations, Victor. You have 11 knockouts in 27 fights coming in. So far, we've seen you twice on HBO, and you scored 2 spectacular knockouts, this time against someone in the top of the division. Where did this come from?
Хочу отдать должное Matthysse, сказать ему спасибо. Он очень серьезный соперник. Я настраивался и думал про нокаут, конечно, но не зацикливался на этом. Я просто боксировал, и я понял, что могу уже нокаутировать, и пришел удар сам. Сам по себе, как с Айдином пришел.
I want to say thank you to Lucas Matthysse. He's a really great opponent, really strong. He came out to this fight really strong to fight. And I didn't want to knock him out. I didn't plan to do that. I just came in the fight. I wanted to relax and box and do what I do best. And the knockout came. It's all great.
And yet here you are again with your second consecutive knockout. Ringside, we're talking about the work that Freddie and Marvin are doing with you at the wild card. Has that made a difference?
Хочу сказать должное моей команде, Фредди Роучу, Марвину, тренеру, своему тренеру, всей своей команде. Они меня сделали чемпиона. Спасибо большое, и это еще не последний нокаут.
I want to say thank you to my team, to Freddie, Marvin Samodio. They made me the champion. And I assure you, this is not going to be my last knockout.
There were times in the fight where Matthysse seemed to reach you and shake you up with his power. What did you think of his power? Were you badly hurt at any point?
Думаешь о его ударах? Ты был, какие моменты были у тебя, когда ты немного был потрясен его ударами?
Да, пару ударов я пропустил. Ну, поэтому у меня кличка Iceman. Я держу удары.
Yeah, I took a few hard shots, but that's why my nickname is Iceman, because I can take a punch.
When Jack Reese told you to stop holding, it seemed that favored Matthysse at first, but then it forced you to raise your game. What were you thinking when he was telling you stop holding? What did that do to you?
Да, когда он сказал это, конечно же, я понял, что может снять очко. Я когда сел в ринг, Фредди Роуч сказал, не держи, просто работай вблизи, и все будет хорошо. И так оно случилось.
When Jack Reese told me about that, I was afraid that he was going to duck the point from me. And Freddie Roach told me that you can box on the inside, get in on the inside, and you can do short punches, and you can win boxing on the inside.
Last one. Real boxing fans who pay attention are now thinking that the 2 best fighters at 140 pounds are you and Terence Crawford, assuming he wins 3 weeks from now. What are your thoughts about eventually fighting Terence Crawford to establish supremacy in the junior welterweight division?
Я с удовольствием с ним встречусь и докажу американской публике, своей родной Украине, что в Украине есть настоящие чемпионы.
It would be my pleasure to meet him in the ring, and I want to prove myself to the American boxing fans and prove that they're real champions in Ukraine.
Еще хочу поблагодарить своих родных, близких, всю свою Украину, кто поддерживал, и, конечно же, американскую публику.
I want to say thank you to all the fans that came out tonight and supported me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And I also want to say thank you to Ukraine for supporting me, everybody in Ukraine. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lucas, what happened at the end of that fight? Were you able to get up and decided not to, or were you not able to get up?
Sí, no, sentí un estallido en el ojo, no veía, veo más o menos, pero sí me podía levantar, pero preferí cuidarme el ojo por ahí.
I felt a pop in my eye. I felt something pop in my eye. But I preferred to take care of my eye, and that's why I could have gotten up, but I preferred to stay down to protect my eye.
So as many tough fights as you've been in, something happened physically to you that you felt endangered your future to the point where it was better to call it a day.
No, me sentí bien, no me salió nada esta noche.
You know, I felt well, nothing happened for me tonight.
How good is Victor Postol? You've been in with a lot of top junior welterweights.
No, creo que no, creo que tuvo su noche y yo la mía de vuelta no la pude tener.
He's not the best, I don't think so. He had his night and I just didn't have my night.
Pero esta noche el campeón del mundo y lo quiero felicitar.
But he is the world champion tonight and I want to congratulate him.
Thank you, Lucas, for a good show as always.